Could Amari Cooper be on his way to Seattle? One NFL insider thinks that is going to happen. We'll tell you what they had to say and share our thoughts and more coming up on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us. You know, the Seahawks have a lot of money. It's kind of just sitting there. Do you want John to spend it? I think we all do, right? They got plenty of cash for the draft. They can go get some free agents or make some trades, whatever it may be. Today, Junior, if you want John to spend that money, make it rain in here. Like the video. Let John know. He may be watching, maybe somebody close to him. Pass the message along that we want to spend to win here on Seahawks Today. Let's get at least 500 likes off today's video, and we'll get started with today's show. Bleacher Report is predicting that the Seattle Seahawks will sign free agent wide receiver Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper, a 5-time Pro Bowler. He's had a very good career playing with teams like the Raiders, the Cowboys, the Browns, the Bills, and now he's looking for his next chapter of where he'll continue his football career. His name came up in Seattle at the very beginning of free agency as they were looking for their options after moving on from DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and ultimately they signed Cooper Kupp along with MVS. But is the door still open for Amari Cooper potentially to end up in the Emerald City? Brad Gagon of Bleacher Report wrote the following. The 5-time Pro Bowler is still just 30 and went over 1,200 yards for Cleveland in 2023. Teams might be apprehensive about trusting a player who lacked consistency for much of his career and struggled to produce while dealing with nagging injuries in 2024. Seattle now has the money to spend and the need for an X or Z receiver like Cooper to work with Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Now, I love this idea for a number of reasons of bringing Amari Cooper to Seattle. It makes a ton of sense on paper for this Seahawks team to bring in Amari Cooper to add to this receiving core, and you could potentially put yourself in a spot where this group that lost DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and had a solid group last year, you add in Amari Cooper to Cooper Kupp and JSN and also MVS, you might be just as good, if not better, than the receiving core you had a year ago. But with all that said, I would still be shocked if they signed him at this point in time. And the reason why is that outside of this prediction coming from Bleacher Report, we have not heard of any momentum this direction of Amari Cooper in Seattle getting a deal done of sorts. Now, granted, things can change, and these situations tend to move pretty quickly. But here we are, and there are no signs of this happening anytime soon that Seattle is, one, interested in Amari Cooper, or Amari Cooper being interested in Seattle, vice versa, in a deal getting put together. With that said, you look at his contract projection, according to folks at Spotrac. It's around a 2-year, $37.87 million. And I know that sounds like a lot of money, but there could be ways to get creative with this, whether it's putting off the guaranteed money after the first year and maybe making that 2-year deal like a 1-year deal with a 1-year team option. That way, if he struggles or if he has some injury issues, you could get out of the situation. So even though it does seem like a lot, you can make this work for you. Seattle has the money to do it. It's just a matter of if they want to do this or not to bring Amari Cooper in. You look at the cap space right now, according to Spotrac, Seattle has about $37.18 million. On average, you need about $10 million to sign your draft picks, so you could still sign all your draft picks and have the money to be able to bring in Amari Cooper if you shall choose. Let's let you weigh in on this. Should the Seahawks sign Amari Cooper? Now that you've seen the numbers, what do you think? Type S for sign, P for pass. Weigh in on our pinned comment today and let me know which way you lean towards. Seahawks Today is all over NFL free agency. We're also counting down to the draft. We're talking trades and more each and every day on the channel. Subscribe now for the latest happenings on your favorite team all off-season long as we bring you our daily news and rumors, sometimes 2 and 3 videos a day, live shows twice a week, in addition to our breaking news, our Q&A mailbags. We're all over it here on Seahawks Today. Subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications so you're the first to know when we have new content here on the channel. Let's get at least 20 new subs off today's video. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. More on Amari Cooper. He began his career with the Las Vegas Raiders, was then traded to the Dallas Cowboys, and the Raiders were still in Oakland at that time. Then went to the Cleveland Browns, and most recently was with the Buffalo Bills. And he's been good everywhere. From Oakland to Dallas to Cleveland, he's been to 5 Pro Bowls in his career, most recently in 2023. And the Cowboys, when they moved on from him, remember, they didn't get a whole lot when they traded him to the Browns. They thought his career was pretty much over with, but then he caught a second wind there with Cleveland and was really good. And then we saw him this year with Buffalo. And dealing with the nagging injuries throughout the season, there was a fall-off for Amari Cooper. He went from having a season with over 1,200 yards in Cleveland to last year just having barely over 500 yards receiving, and his yards per reception was way down from 17.4 the year before to 12.4, had 4 touchdowns and also had 12 drops, which was the highest that he'd had since 2022, and he still played a decent number of games, 14 total between his time in Cleveland and in Buffalo. I think he would be a natural fit for this Seattle Seahawks offense, that he would give them another option that's totally different than what you would see from JSN and from Cooper Kupp, who are more slot type of receivers in the short passing game, right? You bring in Amari Cooper, you add him to this mix, and he takes the spot of MVS as the receiver in that top 3, in that mold there. And now you have an opportunity to really extend the field and push the football forward in a way that you're not going to do with Cooper Kupp and JSN, and still allows them to thrive at their natural strength. And I think he would be a hell of a lot more dependable than MVS would as far as that goes. I think that'd be an upgrade from MVS, and MVS hangs around as your number 4 or 5 receiver, and that's fine. I think it's asking a lot of him to be your number 3. The wide receiver position still needs to be addressed. I know that they brought in Kupp. I know they brought in MVS and Craycraft and Sims, but there's still another receiver away. And the question becomes, how about do you go to take care of that wide receiver spot? And I think that John is more likely to address this in the draft rather than paying the money for Amari Cooper, that they would prefer to go younger and have somebody that they can plan on being there long term. Amari Cooper, in all reality, you're looking at maybe being here a year, 2, at most 3, compared to a guy they draft that they could develop to be here for a while. How should Seattle address the wide receiver position? Do you lean towards the draft or free agency? Type D for draft, type F for free agency. Chime in the comment section which way you lean towards. Speaking of wide receivers, we talked about him. Cooper Kupp, his jerseys are on sale now at chatsports.com/Kupp. And we have free shipping available on these jerseys as well. If you go to that same link, chatsports.com/Kupp, not only can you get an awesome Cooper Kupp jersey like you're seeing right here, we also have Sam Darnold jerseys available at that same link, as well as other Seahawks merchandise for your liking. So go check all of that out at that same link, chatsports.com/Kupp. It's in the comments and description of today's video to get your Cooper Kupp jerseys today, right in time for the summertime, and you'll be looking good with your friends on the boat wearing that Cooper Kupp jersey. Get yours now at chatsports.com/Kupp. Now, the real question that comes to mind when I look at Amari Cooper, whether it's for Seattle or any other team for that matter that's interested in signing him, has the decline already begun for Amari Cooper at this point in his career. With him in his 30s now, we saw last season, the numbers were not what they were. And he got off to a bit of a slow start in Cleveland with just 24 total catches, 250 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then you go to Buffalo. You get to play with Josh Allen. You get to be in a dynamic offense that had a chance to win the AFC. And he was kind of forgotten about. He was just another guy and was not his typical self in those 8 final games with the Buffalo Bills. In fact, taking it a step further, of those statistics in his entire career, in 2024, he had the lowest reception and receiving yard totals of his entire career, my friends. I think signing Amari Cooper is a bit of a gamble. That is a lot of money to invest in an older receiver. But I think it's one worth taking. I think that if it doesn't go right, you can structure this thing properly to get out of the situation next offseason and go from there. And honestly, I don't think that signing Amari Cooper should stop you from still drafting a receiver either to potentially bring in and develop. Take advantage of having strength in numbers. If you enjoyed today's show, like the video. We certainly would appreciate it. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today.